So, anyways, chat. I did not realize, but while I was on vacay, my contract with Hoyoverse hit its like end point. I can't go into like too much detail about the actual contract because that is mainly what's under the NDA of like what's in the contract. But obviously my contract was for a year. If you've been like paying attention, it was for a year or whatever. And I didn't even realize. I've honestly been so like busy with other stuff that like this me being a Hoyo content creator, especially since it's been a year, has just been like a thing for so long. And it was only until like my like manager reached out to me about it that I was like, oh, I did not realize that that was now. I don't know why. It felt like I had only been a Hoyo content creator for a couple months. I'm like, oh, it's been a year. And I actually went to go check the original contract. I'm like, oh my God, no, it's been a year. I literally signed in October. Um, so I'm trying to think if I could actually give details. Hmm. Okay, I'm gonna say this. My experience on this Hoyo contract is going to be vastly different from everybody else. I'm saying that right now because I don't want this to become like fuel to any future fire. Not that I think that this will create a fire, but I don't want this to become fuel because obviously there are other people that are on Hoyo contracts, and I just want to make it very clear. In my opinion, and this is my opinion because I don't know what are in other people's contracts, everyone has their own individual contract. When you get a contract, it's like a business deal. You can go back and forth, you can make adjustments. Like everyone has the ability to do that. Even if it's not a Hoyo contract, if a brand reaches out to me and is like, hey, we want to sponsor you for XYZ, I have the ability to be like, oh, can it be like this? Can it be like that? You know, like you're allowed to like work with a client per se, or whatever you want to label them as, to come to an agreement that works for both of you, whether that means more money, whether that means changing what is in the actual contract of what you're contracted to do. Like, as an example, there are times where brands reach out to me and they're like, we want you to do a whole YouTube video. And that's the original like contract. And I'm like, I don't do that. I can do a sponsored segment, or I can do like this. Like, I'll propose other things. And then sometimes if the contract will change, we'll do that instead. So that's ways that they could change, like vastly different. So even if one creator gets a sponsor and another creator gets the exact same sponsor at the exact same time, they might not be paid the same, might not have the exact same like requirements and all that. I just wanted to put that forward because again, not that I think this will start a fire. I don't want people to use my experience to be like, this is everyone's experience and this is like what everyone has, because it most likely is not. And I know for a fact that there are creators on very different contracts for sure. I've talked about it with other creators, and like there are multiple versions, it seems, of this like Hoyo contract, and I was on a very specific one. I think from my experience that my version of the contract, from what I've been told, like I don't think that my program will exist anymore. I think anyone that's on it still, like currently and ongoing, they're obviously not going to get kicked out, but I don't think they're like renewing it or like doing it anymore. But I could be wrong. I don't know. I don't have that information. I don't work at Hoyo. That is just my opinion on the situation. Um, Based on like the knowledge that I've been told, it seems like that, which is fine because coming towards the end, actually, let's be real, it wasn't at the end. Coming towards the middle of the Hoyo contract, I was already in the feeling of not sure if this is for me, not sure if I would continue to do this because it is very difficult being directly attached to a game. Like permanently in that kind of way. And it's not that the contract in any way said that I could like not do something or whatever. It just felt like I had this innate pressure no matter what to like be connected to Genshin, be putting out Genshin content or like whatever it might be. And like there wasn't like quotas, there wasn't this. It's just the pressure of being on the contract. Of like, well, I'm working with this brand like, you know, chose me, put me in this position, and you know is looking at like all my stuff like I should be, And just the innate pressure of that was really difficult at certain periods of times where I just felt like Genshin wasn't giving me any content to work with in any regard. I felt like it was kind of like pulling teeth and being like, okay, what thing or idea could I recycle for the millionth time and maybe pull something out of just so at least I'm active within it? Um, and I didn't like that experience. I also just didn't like being that closely tied to Hoyoverse, I realized. When there was a ton of drama, obviously coming out during Withering Waves' release right before like it came out with Hoyo contracts in general, it quickly made me realize in that moment that any drama that happens with this company that I have literally zero control over, like I don't get to control what sponsorships they do. I don't get to control that they're gonna plaster McDonald's all over their bullcrap all the time, like and all that kind of stuff. But no matter what they do, it is directly going to affect me, even if I'm not directly involved in any way, because I am affiliated or partnered in some way. And although I was thankfully not offered the McDonald's sponsorship, especially after that moment, I was like, I don't even want to be put in that position, I think. Because there's a big difference, chat, between a random brand coming up to me and like being like, hey, we really like your content. We'd like to sponsor you on this one thing. And me like taking that sponsor and then like a couple months later, they like do dumb shit. It's like, well, I was only sponsored with them for like one moment in time or whatever, right? Like it's not an endorsement. Being like directly connected to a brand for a period of time, like a year or more, in maybe some people's cases, that puts a different level of expectation where like if you are being given an opportunity, I would definitely feel the pressure of having to say yes, because even though I have the option to say no, there's always that like mental part in your brain that's going to be like, well, if I say no, are they going to stop giving me opportunity? If I say no, is this going to look bad on me? If I say no, am I going to get penalized in some way for this? And, you know, corporations are corporations at the end of the day. It's like any job, they don't owe it to you to tell you that in fine print, and most likely they would deny it, but you would never really know how things affected you. Also, halfway through, my manager switched out, and no offense to my current manager, but I just don't really like them. And it's not like I don't really like them personally. I just felt like they took zero effort to get to know me, even though like it's a brand new relationship. Like I was on a one-to-one with this one person obviously the entire time, and now that person left to go do something super great, by the way. I loved my previous manager. My previous manager, nicest guy ever. Like I any conversation I had with him, I he literally made me feel great, even though like there were times where like my content wasn't doing well or like things weren't working in my favor. I felt like he was always trying to get me involved in things. He was always pushing me. He was constantly saying like even just like nice things. Like one of my one of my lore walls flopped. I think it was the second or third Genshin one, which I had a feeling it was going to, by the way. And he reached out to me just to be like, hey, I know like it didn't do well. This is me paraphrasing, by the way, but like, you know, it was a really good video and it really sucks. And then like I think he even went on to say that like, you know, people at Hoyo like still really appreciate that video, like that you took the time to do that. And that's something that I don't like, no one owes doing that. Like no one owes saying that to me in any regard or whatever. And I was like, damn, thanks. I mean, I was shitting on myself and I'm still going to shit on myself for that video doing crap, but you know, it's nice to hear. It's nice to have someone like going out of their way just to say a nice thing or whatever. Especially when like this job can be so isolating and you spend like hours on a video for it to go like nowhere, or days in my case. So I like really appreciated my previous manager. I felt like he would talk to me even if it wasn't in regard to like something directly business related, like, oh, we're doing this opportunity or we're doing this, like, do you want to do this? Like he would just talk to me. My new manager, like, I swear, chat, we talked like 5 times, and like over a course of like months. And I don't know, like, I don't know if it was my fault. Like when they came in, I was like super busy, so like I couldn't really talk a ton. But like also like I'm the content creator, like your job is to manage, like my job is to do my job. Do you know what I mean? And I just felt like I didn't have a relationship with this manager, and then in turn, because of that, I don't know if it's something I did, if it's something I did wrong, or if like it just there was none. But I felt like the minute my manager switched, the opportunity zero. Like I wasn't involved in anything after that. And I was like, okay, if I'm not involved in anything anymore and I'm not being asked to do anything anymore, I mean, like, yeah, sure, the other perks are like nice, but like the whole reason I wanted to even be a Hoyo creator directly affiliated wasn't because of like anything monetarily related. It was more because I'm like, cool, this is a great way for me to get involved with this company in cool and unique and different ways, which was like the one time that I got to like do the voiceover work for like a Zhongli collab with the museum. Like when am I ever going to get that opportunity to like do that, you know? Probably not. And like being able to do that was super cool. It was like the closest step I would probably ever get in my life to, doing VA work. Um and like that was because of like my previous manager, like or whatever. Um so it was more like for that kind of stuff. Like I wouldn't care if I got paid like peanuts for that. That was just like a cool thing to like dive into or be involved with or whatever. Um so because I felt like I wasn't gaining a lot from it towards the end, when it came time for this whole situation which just got thrown at me, I wasn't even really like upset in any way or like sad that like it was like not continuing or whatever, like the contract was just like done. Um although I love Hoyoverse, and I want to use the word love very, very loosely. I love the work that they do. I love the game that they made. I don't know any of them that personally, beyond maybe a very select few of people, and those people, it's more like a work relationship. And I think the company can be very, very out of touch, money hungry, and honestly, just like completely confusing. Like sometimes I'm just like the level of disappointment sometimes that I feel is truly immaculate. But I love the IP, like the game they've made. There are lots of things in it that I would love to fucking fix. That I would like completely delete out of it or change completely. But on an overall top down perspective, I do love the game. It's like a game, one of the only games I've played this long. With that in mind, though, I don't think this comes as a shock to like anyone who's watched you for a while. I am not the type of person to lick the boot of any corporation, any company. The only reason I stopped doing like leak content in the Discord itself, and this is meaning like allowing people to post leak content in the Discord, is because Hoyoverse doesn't want any of its content creators connected to leaks, which is like a wide known thing. It's very known. They don't want their content creators, dealing with leaked content or whatever. You all know my opinion on leaks. I very much do not care. The only thing I really care about is story related leaks because I feel like, again, that does spoil it. But everything else, don't care. If I am not under this contract or obligation, I'm not. I don't feel the need to go out of my way to prevent leaked content from spreading. It is not my job. I am not the Hoyo maintenance guy. I am not on a Hoyo paycheck. It's not my business. I myself am not going to go back to making dedicated leak content in the sense that a lot of you found me through, which is me being like, hey guys, oh my god, look behind me. Here is the first look at, Fujiway's break kit or whatever. I'm not going to do that. Am I going to push boundaries? Of fucking course I am. Content creation is all about pushing boundaries in whatever ways that you can, breaking the mold, doing something different. If I have the ability to release some information early and I don't think I'm going to get caught or I don't think I'm going to get that much in trouble and I'm not really risking anything, I'm going to freaking put out that information, whether it's a guide a little bit earlier or, um, teams or talking about stuff. I am not going to care. But I don't want another cease and desist. I don't want to get sued, so I'm not going to be like showing footage on stream and all that stuff because that is what is going to get you absolutely bonked the fuck out. Is like literally like putting the copyrighted content on display. But if I want to sit there and talk about the analysis of like, oh, Sunday's really gonna help Jin Young in the meta, like I think that's really important that people know that you're not going to get clogged for. Hoyo's not going to sue you for saying that Sunday is good for Jin Young. If they did, they would look crazy. They have better things to freaking worry about. They only care when people like make it their entire life's goal, which was basically what I did before, of like literally just getting as many people to see the leak as possible, which I definitely did before. But that's not what I'm doing anymore. Um, so yeah, you guys can stop saying dreams. You don't need to do that. The word leak is not a bad word. Also, hi, Davey! So you're saying you and your co-retweet to my Sunday edit and call me a rotted whore now? Love that. Listen, my contract was not done yet, so still had to be, you know. Would you like to work with other companies like Kuro? No. I don't think I want to ever be as directly connected as I was to Genshin with another company unless the contract was like completely different. Like if I'm taking on a contract that's longer than like an instance of like sponsorship, it has to be like a very creator friendly contract if that makes sense. Nini, thank you so much for the freaking gift sub. Oh my god, very very sweet of you. ZZZ can be skipped. People are saying that ZZZ is back though, so I don't know. Anyways, let's. Is there anything else that you guys want me to talk about contract wise? I feel like I covered most of it. Obviously, there is stuff that I just cannot talk about, like because of the NDA. But I just want to give like my thoughts and opinions on it so people know. I think if you are brand new as a Kenshin creator or like any creator, for instance, if you are brand spanking new, like you just blew up, you're in your first 3 to 4 months and you like just came out of the gate, it is the perfect time to take on something like that for like a year. But when you're a person like me who's been in the industry for a little bit and like I'm so malleable between games now, it doesn't work like that like exclusivity feeling. Even though it wasn't a full exclusivity in any way, but like just the pressure of exclusivity to any degree doesn't really work. So you're becoming a lore gotcha variety thing streamer? Okay, I don't know what I'm doing anymore. Girl, I don't know. Your boy's lost in the sauce. And I feel like I'm sure Nada could have probably felt this way a little bit. Right now, chat, my problem is the games I play off stream don't super align with the games I play on stream. In the sense that I still actually do play Genshin and Star Rail off stream, but not a ton because I have like other games I want to play. Um, but it's hard to balance like playing games offline while also like playing games on stream for content, right? Like try playing Genshin, Star Rail. Already those two are a lot, and then add like four other ones. Like it is very difficult. I am still planning to play Dragon Age because I'm like not going to back out of that. I've already committed to it. I'm really trying to finish Origins at least before Veilguard. Dragon Age 2, Dragon Age Inquisition. Oh girl, I don't know if I'm gonna have time for that.